You're listening to Easy English Space, and today we're talking about something that almost nobody teaches you: how to talk to your doctor in English. Not just the vocabulary, the whole thing. What to say, how to say it, what questions to ask, what to do when you don't understand. Julia, I feel like you've lived this.
Oh, I've lived it. I remember the first time I had to see a doctor in an English-speaking country, I was terrified. And I'm a language teacher, and I still froze. So if you've ever done the yes thing, nodding along when you have no idea what the doctor just said, you are not alone. Absolutely not alone. Actually, quick question for you, our listener. Have you ever been to a doctor and just smiled and nodded because it was easier than saying, "I didn't understand"? Drop a yes or a no in the comments right now, because I think we both know the answer.
I'm guessing it's mostly yes. And here's the thing, this isn't just about embarrassment. When you don't communicate clearly with a doctor, you might get the wrong treatment. You might not follow the right instructions. You might miss something important. So learning this kind of English isn't just useful, it's actually important, like genuinely important.
Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. You walk in, the receptionist looks at you. What do you actually say? Because it's not just, "I am sick," right, Henry?
Right. So the most natural thing to say at the front desk is something like, "I have an appointment with Dr. Smith," or whatever the doctor's name is. Or if you don't have an appointment, "I'd like to see a doctor today if possible." Simple, polite, clear. You don't need fancy words, you just need the right structure.
And one thing I always tell people, don't be afraid to say your name first. Like, "Hi, my name is Maria. I have a 10 o'clock appointment." Receptionists hear dozens of patients every day. Giving your name immediately makes everything smoother. It's one of those tiny habits that just works.
And then they'll probably ask you to fill out a form, or they'll say, "Do you have your insurance card?" And if you don't understand something on the form, it's completely okay to say, "Excuse me, could you help me with this part?" That's not embarrassing, that's smart. Doctors' offices deal with patients from all over the world. They're used to it.
Okay, so you get called in, the nurse checks your blood pressure, maybe your temperature, and then the doctor comes in. This is the part most people dread, because the doctor's going to ask questions and you have to answer clearly. Henry, what's the first thing a doctor usually asks?
Almost always it's, "What brings you in today?" or "What seems to be the problem?" And honestly, this is your moment. This is your chance to explain clearly what's been happening. And the key word here is describe. Don't just say, "I'm sick." Describe it. Say where the pain is, when it started, how it feels.
Yes, and there are some really useful words for describing pain that most textbooks skip over. So let's do a little practice moment. Ready? Repeat after us, or at least say it quietly to yourself. Say, "I've been having a sharp pain in my lower back for 3 days."
I've been having a sharp pain in my lower back for 3 days. Did you say it? Say it again if you need to. That sentence has everything a doctor needs: location, type of pain, and duration.
And the types of pain. This is actually fascinating in a weird way. In English, we have so many specific words for pain. There's sharp pain, which is like a sudden stabbing feeling. There's a dull ache, which is constant but not super intense, like a headache that won't quite go away. There's throbbing pain, which pulses like boom, boom, boom. And there's burning pain, which feels like heat inside the body.
And doctors will often ask you to rate your pain on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst pain you can imagine. And honestly, most people either say 10 for everything because they want to be taken seriously, or they say like 3 because they don't want to seem dramatic. The real answer is be accurate. If it's a 6, say 6. That information actually matters.
Okay, here's something a bit counterintuitive, and I want you to really hear this one. Most people think the more medical words you use, the better the doctor will understand you. So they try to say things like, "I have a gastrointestinal issue," instead of just, "My stomach hurts." But actually, plain, simple language is often more helpful. Doctors are trained to take your simple description and translate it into medical understanding. Your job isn't to sound like a doctor. Your job is to be clear.
That's such a good point. Say what you feel, not what you think the diagnosis is. My chest feels tight when I climb stairs is more useful than I think I might have a cardiac issue. Let the doctor make the connection. You describe, they analyze.
And here's another one that might surprise you. A lot of people think they should wait for the doctor to ask all the questions, like it's rude to ask questions yourself, or it wastes the doctor's time. But that's not true at all. Doctors want you to ask questions. A patient who asks questions is a patient who understands their treatment, and a patient who understands their treatment is more likely to follow it correctly.
Completely true. And there are some really useful phrases for asking questions. One of my favorites is, "Could you explain that in simpler terms?" That phrase alone can change a doctor's visit completely, because sometimes doctors use medical terms without even realizing it. And if you say, "Could you explain that in simpler terms?" they will, almost every time.
Other great phrases? What does that mean exactly? Are there any side effects I should know about? What should I do if it gets worse? Do I need to come back for a follow-up? These are all normal, natural questions, and asking them makes you a better patient, not a difficult one.
I want to pause here for a second and talk about something a little more personal, because this topic, it gets to me a little bit. And I don't usually say this kind of thing, but I think about my grandmother. She moved to an English-speaking country in her 60s, and her English was okay, conversational. She could chat, she could shop, she could get around. But medical English? That was a different world for her. And there was one time she went to the doctor with chest pain, and she couldn't describe it properly. And the doctor asked her questions she didn't fully understand. And she came home and said, "He said I'm fine." But she wasn't fine. She was scared and confused, and she hadn't actually communicated what she felt.
Henry?
She was okay eventually, but I think about how different that visit could have been if someone had given her a few phrases, just a few. And I think that's why this matters. It's not just about language. It's about dignity. It's about being able to say, "This is what's hurting me," and know that you've been understood.
I think a lot of our listeners know exactly what you're describing. Maybe it's their parent or their grandparent, or maybe it's themselves. And I just want to say, if that's you, you're in the right place. And we're going to keep going because there's more you need to know.
Yeah, let's keep going. So, talking about medication, this is a big one. When a doctor prescribes you something, they'll say things like, "Take 1 tablet twice a day with food for 7 days." And you need to understand that completely, because if you take it wrong, it won't work, or worse, it could be harmful.
So let's break down a typical medication instruction. Take 1 tablet twice a day with food for 7 days. Let's go word by word. 1 tablet, that's the amount. Twice a day means 2 times every day, morning and evening usually. With food, don't take it on an empty stomach. For 7 days, this is the full course. Don't stop early just because you feel better.
And if you're not sure, ask. Say, should I take this in the morning or at night? Or what if I miss a dose? These are real questions. Pharmacists are also amazing resources, by the way. When you pick up your medicine at the pharmacy, the pharmacist can explain everything again. And they have more time than the doctor usually. Don't forget to use them.
Okay, I want to do another practice moment because I think this one is really important. Let's practice the sentence you say when you don't understand something. Say this with us. "I'm sorry, could you say that again more slowly, please?"
I'm sorry, could you say that again more slowly, please? Say it like you mean it. It's polite, it's clear, and it works every time. You know what? Say it one more time. Really own it.
And don't apologize too much for not understanding. Say it once, "I'm sorry," and then ask your question. You don't need to say, "I'm so sorry, my English isn't very good, I apologize, I'm really sorry." Just, "I'm sorry, could you repeat that?" Done. efficient, respectful, natural.
Now let's talk about describing symptoms beyond pain, because sometimes what's wrong isn't about pain exactly. It might be fatigue. I've been feeling exhausted even when I sleep enough. Or it might be dizziness. I sometimes feel like the room is spinning. Or nausea. I feel like I'm going to be sick, especially in the mornings.
Ooh, and shortness of breath. That's a big one. I get out of breath easily, even walking upstairs. That's a clear, natural way to say it. Or my heart feels like it's racing sometimes, even when I'm just sitting still. These are phrases that immediately tell the doctor something specific.
And here's something important. Mention when the symptoms happen. Is it always, sometimes, only in the morning, only after eating? It mostly happens after I eat is different from it happens randomly. Context helps the doctor narrow things down.
Let's also quickly touch on allergies. This is vital information. If you're allergic to any medication, you need to know how to say it clearly. Say, I'm allergic to penicillin, or I had a bad reaction to aspirin once. Those are the exact phrases. Simple, direct. And always mention it, even if they don't ask, because sometimes intake forms get missed.
And if you have any ongoing conditions like diabetes, asthma, high blood pressure, say it early. I have diabetes, type 2. I have asthma, and I use an inhaler. I have high blood pressure, and I take medication for it. These give the doctor the full picture before they even start asking questions.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier, and I want to share something. There's this idea that if you're not fluent, you should maybe bring someone with you to translate. And yes, in some situations, that's genuinely the right call. But here's the thing I see a lot. Sometimes people become too dependent on having someone else speak for them. And then, when they're alone, they panic. So yes, bring support when you need it, but also build your own skills. Both things can be true.
Absolutely. And actually, many hospitals and clinics have translation services available. You can ask, do you have a translator available? Or is there someone who speaks my language? You have the right to ask for that. It's not a special favor. It's a patient right in most countries.
Oh, that's such a good point. And while we're talking about rights, you also have the right to ask for written instructions. Say, could you write that down for me? Or is there a printed summary of what we discussed? Having something written makes it so much easier to process later when you're home and less stressed.
Less stressed. That's real. The doctor's office is a high-pressure environment, even for native speakers. So it's completely normal to process information better once you're out of there.
Okay, let's talk about one more common situation, the follow-up. Sometimes the doctor will say, we'll need to run some tests, or I'd like to refer you to a specialist. These phrases can feel scary, especially if you're not familiar with them. A test, in this context, usually means a blood test, an X-ray, an MRI, things like that. And a specialist is a doctor who focuses on one area, like a cardiologist for the heart, or a dermatologist for skin.
And if you're referred to a specialist, it's completely okay to ask, why do I need to see a specialist? Or how long will I have to wait? Or will my current doctor get the results? You're allowed to understand your own medical journey. That's not being demanding, that's being responsible.
I genuinely love that framing, your medical journey, because that's what it is. It's yours. You're not just a passenger in it.
All right, let's bring this together with a little practice section. I'm going to give you a scenario, and you think about what you'd say. Ready?
Oh, I like this. Go on.
You wake up and your throat hurts. It's been 3 days. It's not getting better. You make an appointment. The doctor comes in and asks, what brings you in today? What do you say?
Think about it. Pause right here if you want. What would you say? And actually, write it in the comments, your full sentence, because that's your homework for today. Write 1 or 2 sentences that you would say to a doctor describing something that you've actually experienced recently. It doesn't have to be serious. Even just, I've been feeling tired for a week, or I have a mild headache most afternoons. Write it out. Practice it, because writing it is the first step to saying it.
And if you'd like a bonus challenge, try writing the question you would ask the doctor at the end of your visit. Something like, should I come back if it doesn't improve? Or, are there any foods I should avoid? Post both in the comments. We read them. We really do.
We really do. And we love when people share their practice. It helps you and it inspires other learners.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to say something, and I mean this honestly. If you've been scared to go to the doctor because of the language barrier, please don't let that stop you. Your health comes first. Always. Go in, do your best, use the phrases we talked about, and don't be afraid to say, I'm still learning English. Could you please speak slowly? Most doctors will appreciate your honesty and adjust.
And one more thing, if this episode helped you even a little bit, please consider subscribing to Easy English Space. One click and you'll never miss an episode. And hit that bell so you actually see when we post. It genuinely helps us keep making content like this.
Okay, so here's where we leave you today. You walked into this episode maybe feeling like medical English is some impossible mountain, but now you have real phrases, real strategies, real tools. What brings you in today? Now you know how to answer that. Could you explain that in simpler terms? Now you know how to say that. I'm allergic to. Now you've practiced it.
Language is confidence, and confidence is built in small moments. Every phrase you practice today is one less frozen moment in that doctor's office next time.
Yeah, well said.
Don't sound so surprised.
I'm never surprised. I'm just taking it in.
Right. Well, take this in too. Next episode, we're heading somewhere a little lighter. We're going shopping in English. How to ask for what you need, how to deal with prices and sizes and returns, and all the little conversations that happen between hello and thank you, goodbye. It's one of those episodes you'll actually use the very next time you walk into a store, so don't miss it.
See you there. And until then, take care of yourself. And if you need to, go see a doctor. In English. You've got this.
You really do.